This is HSC Option 2. The fourth key idea: what are the relationships between sport, physical activity and gender? We're on the first dot point, sport as a traditionally male domain, and we're on the right hand side of the syllabus answering this second question. Critically analyse the participation rates of males and females in a range of sports and offer explanations for the differences. Consider how some forms of activity have come to be traditionally associated with each gender. In answering this long-winded question, you'd be talking about these two dash points: implications for participation, and the second one here, sponsorship, policy and resourcing. Here is a table that shows participations in sport and physical recreation by sex, and it's a very recent survey, 2011-2012. And if you believe what the media says about sport, it's male dominated, it's a male domain. But there appears to be a bit of a contradiction on these statistics here, because if you have a look at participation rates, 11.8% of males are playing organised regular sport. They're in participation rates, while the percentage for females is 12.1%, if you can see down here, 12.1 versus 11.8. That is showing that more females are participating in organised sport than what males are. That previous slide can be explained probably when you have a look at the different sports and activities that males and females are playing. So if you have a look at this top one here, walking for exercise, which is by far the most popular type of activity, you can see the number of females there. It's close to 30% of females are doing walking. That has the biggest gap as opposed to just a little over 15% for males. If you have a look at some of the sports where males are in front of females, they're in sports which you would be considered at a traditionally male domain. So like cycling and BMX, males have a distinct advantage. Also the sport of golf as well. Soccer, although women are playing that sport in increasing numbers, there's still a bit of a gap there. And the other one where there's a big gap is between netball as well. Pretty much no males are playing that sport at all, but there's a big difference in between the participation rate for females. So as a summary of this slide, those two slides, the two lots of statistics I've shown you, although more females participate in organised sport, is still largely gender specific. So for example, netball is dominating for the females. You can see that by the arrow in red there, the differences between male and female participation in netball. In sports where it's considered okay, where there's this media perception of okay for females to participate, the gap is close. So you have a look at sports such as swimming, jogging and running and tennis. The media would say, yeah, it's good for females to participate in those sports. The gap is very close. Okay, so in sports where it's considered what I'd say less acceptable by the media and society as a whole for females to participate in, the rates are not so close. So if you have a look at sports such as cycling / BMX, there's quite a distinct gap between male and female participation. The sport of soccer also still has this gap. Now, although the media's perception of females playing soccer is certainly changing rapidly, the idea of females playing any sort of contact sport in some sections of the media and society is still frowned upon. However, I would say that it's changing quickly, but it's still very evident in some sections of the media and society. Now, what this graph doesn't show is the participation rates for heavier contact sports such as rugby league, AFL and rugby union. And if they were displayed on this graph, you would see similar differences as to what is shown in netball. So there is still very much some gender-specific differences in the amount of participation that happens in Australia for sport. So in a question where you have to critically analyse, what you'd be doing with this question is saying that sporting stereotypes still exist in this country, and that the media contributes to the problem of stereotypes, and some of the previous recordings have shown how you would write about that. However, it is improving, and use the example of the closing of participation rates in soccer as an example. And one of the things that's really important in terms of if you're critically analysing is the importance of female role models. So athletes such as Lane Beachley is really, and Sam Stosur to a lesser extent, have been really important in helping female athletes have a role model in terms of getting out there and participating, and in terms of participation rates, has helped females overtake males in terms of participation. But in some of those more traditional type male sports, it's female role models that are certainly having a big influence.